This is the heaviest planet in creation, and you have a bottleneck here. A bottlenecking that is bottlenecking something in excess of 7 billion souls, even though the 3 lower astral levels are being lifted. Over a third of them have gone because they will not handle what is required with this source connection with planet Earth. It all works, and it all works extremely well with what we are finding that we can incorporate within our system now. But what happens with the duality in the outer world, the world of illusion, is you see so much of it that you get caught up in it. And it doesn't matter where you go or what you do, that outer world is an illusion. And that, I find, for all of us is the most difficult one. Because some of us have children, some of us have peer pressures, some of us have jobs. And even jobs for those working with light become more and more tenuous, more and more difficult. So you have to be creative with this newfound abundance. You must be able to look at it and say, Brian's been able to change what he can do. I've seen others building hearts. I've seen others do what they have to do to maintain their spiritual integrity. And this is what you will have to do. And I think it's difficult because the numbers on this planet are still so small. They tell me there's several million of you here, and that you are the pioneers. I'd love to see 2 million of you here. Bless you, gentle hearts. Have some din-dins. Am I appropriate? Yeah. You told me to stop or you would shoot me. She did.
I made it clear, yeah. Thank you, Brian.
Hello, hello, hello. Good. Nobody's left in their own ascension vehicle? No. I said we were a group in the beginning. If one of you is leaving, we will all leave. We help the needy, not the greedy. An interesting question. Actually, 3 males of exquisite energy have approached me on the same basis, that there is so much coming up for them. And this is what I hearkened to in the beginning. And this doesn't happen exclusively to male, but if we think of the feminine principle of existence, the goddess coming in, and believe me, she's coming in. Some of you females know this because of her being wonderfully dynamic, and the male is thrown out of balance a little bit because of this. And I want to go through this with you because it's so new. I didn't know, and I never know what we're going to talk about. But the minute I saw the pyramid and I saw the two lights, the clear 4-inch light that leaves the Giza to Sirius, leaves the King's Chamber to Orion, it was the first major picture that I have seen in some of these shifts. These shifts are marvelous. But with this, that's a 12,000 year cycle, but it's much, much older than that. We didn't create this as this group, and this is why it came up. We were unable to create that or anchor it into Earth. Do you understand anchoring? Anchoring is anchoring, isn't it? If we have a 5 body that we need to anchor, we anchor it. If we have an emotional body that is very, very confused on this planet, we anchor it. We anchor it into the Earth, but not in perpetuity. We anchor, and then we increase our vibration, our resonance for ascension. And ascension, again, is a word that's been bandied about by so many people. The body that you are living in now is the vehicle for your primary ascension. I've spoken, I'm learning with you. And I have spoken about certain things as they happened in the past because I was blessed with a memory. And that blessing is not that great. Nobody likes to share how many times they've been crucified upside down. These weren't pleasant times. They say this body isn't real, and Brian will be the first to tell you that it's an illusion. But when they start hammering the nails, it doesn't. I don't appreciate being told it's all an illusion. Nor do you. Understand that no one is greater than anyone else. This is some of the great confusion with your stranding your 2 DNA. Because it left you hopelessly imprisoned. There's not one in this room who hasn't worked with at least 10-strand DNA. That would be the Alts, the Altians, the seed nation for what became the white race. But you can't take a being with lizard skin, even if he has 12-strand. I don't want to shock you, but some of these entities are out there. Doesn't mean they are evil, they're just not within our regimentation or confinement of being attractive. But I think they find each other attractive. That's the point. And in the next few years, you will see more and more of activity coming in to Earth at a vibration that you will respond to, hopefully, lovingly. Nothing in darkness can be effective in a derogatory sense if you are light. So there's some fear about the horror stories that are told with basic truths or components that might be considered truth on your television. You must be very careful giving them false energy. If you can live in the thymus room and just be love, it's so much more helpful. Anyway, back to the difficulty now. And I want you to think for a moment of the shifts in our consciousness and what they really mean. It's a double-edged sword, is it not? You are, without exception, the pioneers of today. There is no tomorrow, of the now. And finally, groups such as this are meeting, and they're applying their ability as synthesizers, as facilitators. They can synthesize. It's so very simple for you to say, but it sympathizes. And that's what we do. I would not have believed a few years ago, when I had a very difficult time staying in a physical body, that we could ever reach the stage that we have now, where literally thoughts become things. And we have a group of whatever it is here, close to 200. Understand this, that your groups of 12, 14, 16, 18 can affect the earth. This is a priori. It's very important that you understand this. And whenever you meet, you may wish to listen to some of the tapes that you've already listened to. You may look at address other situations. At this time on earth, the highest energy that we know of comes through these seminars. That doesn't mean it won't change, and it doesn't make us better than anyone else. If you look at your DNA, you will see that you were coded and prepared, verily, for certain events to work as pioneers. Now, the double-edged sword is more and more you will see around you atrocities. God told me to kill this person. And they do it with self-righteousness. They do it with all the aplomb on earth. A sacred covenant has always, we've felt, was to hold life sacred. And now we have those that hold the unborn fetus sacred, to the degree that we go and we murder as psychopaths somebody else. And the argument is to save the unborn child. Well, I've written at length on this, and any of you who've read Mahatma too know that the embryo has no life. The soul governs. The soul governs and determines the length of one's sojourn on earth. That's the primal soul. So, to keep in your center, or what we call the thymus room, will take more and more love, more discipline as you watch others come undone. It's not a comfortable world. There will come a time when, because of this synthesis, see, you got it, and because of groups such as ourselves, whom I refer to as a goodly company, because there isn't one among you I have not met before. Don't please ask where. Could be embarrassing. And you have this amplification in duality. Amplification, almost exaggerated, and seems to fall away. These people are perfectly sincere in the avenues that they perceive to be correct. And it's the same electromagnetic impulses that are being anchored into the earth. I speak of it in a more, I meaning we, in a more developed fashion, meaning the spiritual energy. This is the first time ever any planet of the 43 planets in this one universe, in this one cosmic day rather, all are being spiritualized. This is a great gift. But to take a body that was only suited for a three-dimensional undertaking, and not well served even at that, with a two-strand DNA, and stretching all of this now, and I'm saying to you, and some of you have done it. There's a lovely lady at the back, and there's several others here. There's two lovely ladies at the back, and 64 in front of them, who have all, these ones have touched in to the sixth dimension. A few years past, you couldn't stay in that body, could you? The resonance, the vibration is too high to stay in. So you do these things not always understanding why it is and why sometimes it's uncomfortable. Many of you are uncomfortable between the shoulder blades, and we touched on that earlier. Many are the body as the cells start to change, and particularly in a grouping as powerful as this one is, where shifts are ongoing and shifts develop as I talk. They're very, sometimes less than subtle. And the vibratory rate, this is not an exact undertaking, but say you vibrate at 6,400 per second. And before the seminar is over, you are 22,000. That means the cells, everything in this body of ours, and particularly the electron, because it's the electron, that subparticle in the atom, that creates the light body. That's the primary ascension. It's a light body. So it's not, quote, natural, unquote, what it is we're doing. But I've seen more and more where time is different. Glenda and I were down on the island. I was supposed to be writing a book. And we're in the Caribbean. I'll give you an example. I had a tape I was listening to from dear friends in New Jersey, and it came to an end, and I thought it was shut it off. It didn't. I anticipated that. It continued to run. And then it went back to the center of the same tape, the last tape in New Jersey, and it came through perfectly. Now, the secret, this is all, you can say, well, that's fine. This is not Houdini, and it's not Sai Baba. Now, the secret is to have that brought into your mainstream life. I went to play it for Glenda, and it didn't work. I thought I have a brand new tape, and that's very nice. I'll let Barbara know, and Jim know. That is wonderful. That's a brand new tape, and everything that we had thought would happen did happen. No, it's 15 minutes in the middle of perfection. But it only happened. So we did this all out of time. Difficult for you? No, it shouldn't be difficult. Your strength in the final analysis, time is not what it was. We sense it in every moment of our living on this planet. The planet is beloved to us because we've agreed over her, and we have agreed to save her. And all we've ever seen in recent times is deprivation. destruction. So these two things, and I alert you, my friend, and I alert others that I spoke to briefly, that you are going to be compelled to look differently. Everything will seem to express life to you in an exaggerated form, and anger will come up. And that's what these groups are about. We can call on this group for anything and everything, and the group itself goes over. Some of you will have the experience we talked about in New Jersey, where they will be recoded. And recoding is a very simple thing. The most present in my memory, I think it's happened 17 times during my life, where I've actually gone and come back, not having a memory particularly of what it was that happened, but to know that when they got back, first of all, the room lit up, therefore the light lit up. And I knew there's this wand, this energy you don't seem to be frightened of. You couldn't possibly be frightened of it. I went back to bed and I was gone. Came back the following day, wasn't ready to come out of it, waited 2 more hours. So for 14 hours, I was recoded. This was the feminine principle of existence. All of you are recoded differently because your basic DNA is different than mine. Your patterns are different than mine. They're not better, they're not worse. Do you see that? It's very important that you begin to understand how the matrix works. That all of us have threads within this magnificent tapestry. And it's time now that we bring that energy together and not be confused by these shifts which are so rapidly approaching the planet of sorrows. It doesn't make the planet any brighter and breezier that I can see. But thoughts are things, and out of that comes your abundance. Those things that you said, oh, I can't do that. You don't even say that anymore. Because the double-edged sword, you cannot say on one, yes, I know what Brian's saying is correct. I know that he did this and he had this tape that ran off for 15 minutes and then he had all those things happen. What is important is that we join and know that our creations are real. They're not, well, what if? What if it doesn't prove? What if I can't bring in as a thought form that abundance that I have been looking for? The minute you what if, you lose it. You can't function as fourth, fifth, and sixth dimensionally unless you're absolutely certain within the cosmic heart, the heart that we are building and will continue to build this afternoon. Bring a thought in, magnify it, and let it go. It is exactly the same with a healing. Healings are slightly different than they ever were. And they're more and more direct because we're dealing with greater units of finer energy. So we have some marvelous healers in this room. They have to change their technique a little bit. Do you see that? A little bit. Nothing is as it was, but you take in negatives, you propagate negatives. You propagate them too. Once you have made that connection with the I Am, and this is what we do, the 352 levels to the source itself, and we anchor and make our connections with all aspects of self. And that thymus room becomes huge, it's full of light. Our Christ itself has anchored long since. And we know that it isn't a man and it isn't a woman. And we know these male gods are dysfunctional. Now, but to become Christed is very important. But that's only the beginning of your journey. And I'm pleased to see the number of male energies that we have here. There's a huge amount of energy wherever we go, and in that energy is your transformation. Don't sit there and say, for the sake of the group or for the sake of yourself, oh, I don't understand him. Please let know that the soul understands. You don't want negativity in anything anymore. It's the positive step that says, I can, I will, and this is who I am. I am one with my Creator. I adore who I am becoming. And the heart opens and opens and opens and opens until the ultimate cosmic heart and the heart that we use and amplify as the thymus become one and the same thing. The density is just greater here. No negativity. It's every one of you have looked at this, and I know I see your auras, and I see where you have been and what it is you are looking at. And there isn't one among you, the greatest among you, and you are all great, great in the purest sense of the word. Much, much more than you yet know. You cannot play with words any longer. You can't say, well, I'm going to do this, but if it doesn't work out there, it's all right. You commit. If this happens, then I'll do that. If you have said to the totality of who you are, at all 352 levels, this is who I am, and I'm going to bring this in without interfering with other personalities and their wishes, their free will. That's a much more subtle game. And this is who I am becoming, and I'm becoming light, and I understand I'm open to recoding, I'm open to the trip, whether they call it a Merc or a Merkambra, or some call a Merkaba, or whether you just fall asleep. The need to keep this body has many, many ways to address its perfection or relative perfection. Some will simply sleep and be recoded. Some are starting to be worked on here. The energy here is profound. Some of you could feel it. It's all heart-centered. Breathe in through the thymus, please. The Christ itself is what we work on, but I caution you because it is so important, and you'll hear it on these tapes, those that buy them. The importance now is your conviction be firm? If you are addressing your ascension, if you are addressing going into the fifth dimension, sixth dimension, and spiritualizing material body, so be it. And above all now, let us look to that heart, please. And we have definitive guidelines now which are so energized. The mother energy having anchored has had a profound effect on all of us. The coding that Brian, took in was rather debilitating. But that's a perception. But the value was so staggeringly wonderful. He was beat up bad by that broad. She beat him up bad. Into the thymus room, please, and that's where I would hope that you could address every situation, and that's where you could live. I know that outer world is there. You have to deal in that outer world that says this is what I'm supposed to do, and this is the way I do it, and I have a job, and if I don't work, the children aren't fed. All of those things, until you know how to change them, are very real, are they not? Yeah. Relationships that you're in. The God, the goddess. When you look at yourself now in this thymus room, you don't see a male polarity and a female polarity. Because the next 2 days we will raise the vibration into the heart of what you call your lower chakras. They're already shifting. They're shifting very rapidly. They were created by man. They had nothing to do with 6, 8, 10 strand beings who inseminated or brought this civilization forth. Breathe, please. Fill the heart, make it feel very, very, very warm and loving. And we will work from this room and everything that we do now. I want you to show the difference to yourself, the androgyny of man, not in your day-to-day life. That doesn't concern me, that's the outer world. But to look to this heart, this fireplace, light the fireplace within this thymus room. It's your creation, it's your room. And it's every bit as real and as valid as we believe it is. Here's where you can be your God self. Here's where you can be creative. Here's where you can manifest that which can be undertaken at this time on this little planet. I want this room made larger and larger. We got discs in front of you, and I think that's as good a way as any, because this is a vortex. All chakras are vortex. They are centers of energy. And because the heart and throat are becoming one, please let's make one vortex very large vortex of the fourth and fifth chakra, please. Start to turn it, gentle ones. We're going to clear this whole channel, enlarge the room. And as you would an elevator, please go up to the source star and down into the earth with Sandalphon below your feet. Up and down. Brighter and brighter is this channel, which is your creative ability. Becomes more and more wondrous with its light. Know that nothing untoward can enter your beingness. Know that all of the protection is here as the group, and the group is becoming one, for in that is their power, huge power that changes the earth, the surroundings, and all of creation. The room is very, very clear. Candles that are in front of Brian do not flicker in front of you. You see them beside the fireplace, they do not flicker, they're straight up and down. There is no force field. And again we look to them as electrons, because that's what, that part of the atom is what controls and makes up the electronic body, or the body for primary ascension. It is the most important part from our point of view within that atom. We see to the corners of this room and use your creative abilities to do the room the way you see fit. Off into the corners, brighter and brighter, brighter. It's a very wonderful place to be. And it doesn't have that glaring area of positivism and negativity of the male, the female, the good, the evil, all of the dynamics that duality manifests. It simply is. It's what science hoped it would find, a unified field. Let us take this disc up, please, gentle ones, up to your source star. A little higher for some of you. Wherever you are comfortable. And we're traveling as a group. I want you now to step outside this Merkambra, this Merc, this space vehicle, for there's no gravitational pull on it. And open up this golden chambers at the source itself, and it is magnificent. For words cannot describe what we are about to see. You hear the hue sound, you hear the angelic host, and the colors become superb. Not cannot be confined to our language. And in front of you, you see a table, a magnificent table. This is good for all of us because we're all linked with this table irrevocably. And you see 11, I say 11 masters. These are the creators of this cosmic day, and each one of them is associated with a ray around an oblong table. Time and space is meaningless. You and these beings could be millions and millions of years tall, miles. And every one of these beings radiates a different hue. And as we're all associated with one primary ray, I want you to go around from 1 through 11. The 12th is in the middle of the table. And identify with which one you think you work with. Know that they're all magnificent. And these are called monadic vehicles. They are the custodians of the rays. It's 12 rays for this creation and all other creations. All other cosmic days have 12 rays. Go to the first one, gentle ones, please. I know that this is the first ray. This is the ray that hits Earth right now very powerfully. It's the ray of change. It's the ray of destruction. If things are not being implemented in the plan, the divine plan, in a way that the God Source sees, this is the ray that comes in, and it's very, very powerfully infused on this planet right now. It's red. You can't look at red for very long, can you? Crimson, it's almost the color of blood. Get a sense of this great one, though, please. 2 is love, as you know. I take you through these because they're even more important in your finite discipline. Indigo blue is wisdom. Slightly different blue is your love. And they're intertwined. The popular figures in your with your mystics are Jesus, or rather the Maitreya, the Christ, with the blue and with the indigo blue would be Buddha, the wisdom. Remember that this is a much more comprehensive level of love and wisdom, for it's all-knowing. It isn't the love and wisdom that your Christ and Buddha brought in, for they are not familiar with this level. Align, go around. Some of you will be ahead of me because you know who you align with, having read Mahatma 1 and 2. And 3 gets things done. it doesn't mean that your personality now gets 3 things done and therefore this is who you should be. But that is the case with many of you in here. You're organizers. So 1, 2, and 3 often in a project work very, very well together. Four, different story again, isn't it? You have a strange dichotomy, those who so love the earth they cannot leave her. And you have great artists coming through this one, great artisans. Look to it, gentle ones, please, for it is very, very important at this time. Many are getting lost to the chaos of the earth, thinking that this is all that there is, and they worship earth. We can't find fault with adoration of nature, but not the worship. And you know many of these. Earth for earth for earth. Many great artists in this one.